Hello to you. So we are seeing some massive demonstrations, but is this just the start? I mean, could the protests like this get even bigger and perhaps more frequent?
Well, it's certainly possible. What's not yet clear is these are largely organized by public service workers, trade unions across Europe, and they have been one of the unions in the last 20, 30 years that have grown in membership, unlike the industrial unions. So they have a little political clout. The question is whether other sectors of the economy will join in these anti-austerity protests. And that right now remains to be seen, whether they are able to pick up public support. And of course the mainstream media tries to isolate them, downplay the numbers demonstrating and so forth. But I think this is a significant political signal.
Now, certainly brings me to my next point here. Do you think these demonstrations and strikes actually have the power to change EU policy and see any relaxation of the austerity measures?
I certainly think they have the potential power to change EU austerity policies. The way that this crisis has been handled since it first broke in summer of 2007 from the part of the EU governments and the European Commission in Brussels has been catastrophic, to put it mildly. By no means as disastrous as the Wall Street bailout that the Bush and Obama administrations have facilitated, but it certainly ranks up there in the same direction. So what we're seeing right now across Europe is a realization among ordinary voters that they are having to foot the bill for the corruption of the big international banks that made this problem in the first place, and they don't like that.
Now, is there a way to avoid the public spending cuts, considering the massive debts European countries are saddled with?
That is a very political question at this point in Europe, a highly political question. The point is the governments in Berlin and Paris and elsewhere are extending the age of retirement or cutting down on salaries of public workers, government workers, and so forth. And all of those measures really have a negative impact, as you saw in Germany in 1931 under the Brüning austerity. That paved the way for the entree of the Third Reich on a platform of jobs for all. So I think this is a very, very tricky tightrope that the governments of the EU are walking right now. I think there are other ways to do it, but you would have to have a real shake-up of the political vested interests in the EU.
All right, let's look at the broader scope here. Could these strikes and riots undermine the existence of the euro or even of the EU itself?
The EU, I rather doubt it. I think it would have to escalate quite dramatically over the coming months to weaken the euro. We saw in Greece since the beginning of this year that the Greek trade union tradition is a very, very activist tradition, and despite very, very vigorous general strikes and protests and so forth, the Greek government, the Papandreou government, has more or less stuck to its austerity guns, and that hasn't brought the situation to a standstill in Greece. So I don't see a strong militant tradition in the post-war Western European countries. So unless there's something that sparks a change in that, the tradition of the last 15 years has been unions making concession after concession after concession as the jobs go to non-unionized countries, either in Eastern Europe, former Warsaw Pact countries, or in Asia.
All right, F. William Engdahl, author and economic researcher. Thank you for joining us live.
Thank you.